One of the roadblocks for widespread electric vehicle adoption is the reliability of charger networks, and problems have emerged in both Canada and the United States. What can be done to improve the reliability? Let's bring in Kameale Terry, co-founder and CEO of Chargerhelp, a US-based company that specializes in operation and maintenance of EV chargers. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Hi, good morning. Thanks so much for having me. And it's Kameale, a lot simpler than it looks.
I am so sorry about that. I should have
No
checked.
worries.
I am very sorry. Now, we know that tens of thousands of chargers have been rolled out in Canada and the US. For instance, you guys say more than 175,000 charging ports are in action in America. But tell us how bad the reliability problem is.
Sure. One, thanks so much for having me. And I mean, like, the way that I like to level set us is to say that the house is not on fire, everything is not horrible, but we've seen at least probably like three trends, right? We see that across the US, up to 30% of the infrastructure can be found inoperable and online. And this can translate to Canada as well, because it's the same protocol, a lot of the same software, a lot of the same hardware. Mm-hmm. Where we see the biggest problem is really in data interoperability. What folks may not know is that charging stations are computers, and there's a lot of information that has to be exchanged with that specific asset in the electric vehicle. And so that's really where we're seeing a lot of the tension. And honestly, not just in the US and Canada, I've seen this across the world.
Why does data have to be exchanged? Why can't the darn thing just charge up the car?
No, absolutely. And so charging stations, we call them IoT assets, Internet of Things. They are computers. Electric vehicles today are literally batteries and computers. A good way to think about it, honestly, is Tesla. Tesla, all of the software for Tesla is for the hardware, for the car, for the connector payments. That's all made at the same company. In the US and across the world today, there is no other vertically integrated system like that. Mm-hmm. So essentially, a charging station has to say, hey, I'm a charging station. This is how much energy I can put out. Here's maybe some other information. And that electric vehicle has to not only understand that, but also take action too. And that's where we're seeing this failure, kind of occurs between those types of communication.
I thought that a lot of companies were standardizing on the Tesla technology, but is that we're not seeing that? We're not seeing Tesla emerging as the dominant standard?
So interestingly enough, what actually passed is the connector. So the connector that Tesla uses, yes, that is what will be used. However, what we fail to really grasp is that Tesla has a superior experience, not simply because of its connector, but because that it's all the software and all the information is all contained in the same company. But here's the thing, where there's a fix is that where we see getting data from the field service data can allow us to actually make these different types of connections smarter and better. And honestly, this is what we've seen to actually be helpful for a lot of our customers.
Are there vested interests here? Is that one of the problems?
One more time?
Oh, sorry. Are there vested interests here? Are there companies that are trying to maintain the exclusivity or trying to maintain walled gardens to avoid competition?
I think that it's definitely a huge opportunity for collaboration, right? I think that we've seen this happen in other industries before. We actually work with the Society of Automotive Engineers, and they talk about the similar type of problem of lack of collaboration occurring early on when you were looking at airplanes, right? And what information had to be shared in order to level the playing field. And I think that there's a strong desire to have something similar, a leveling of the playing field of information, errors, and data sharing that has to happen within the EV charging ecosystem.
Kameale, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Kameale